Washington, D.C. That's where our reporter, Sherwin Bryse-Pease, is standing by. Sherwin, nice to chat to you once again. I believe it's less than an hour now from the women's protest marches there across the United States. But just how are the streets in Washington and the rest of the country looking, Sherwin?
An hour away, Obril, but I can tell you that there are people as far as the eye can see in the nation's capital. Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people have descended for the beginning and the official start, as you mentioned, at 10 p.m. Eastern, at 10 a.m. Eastern, which is around 5 p.m. Local time in South Africa, and just people that have come out to protest, essentially, the inauguration yesterday of Donald Trump. I mean, you will hear them start chanting any second. They burst into song from time to time. Some of the signs, Aubrey, that I can see are, the women are coming, equality for all, science matters. So every issue, this march started off as a innocuous post on Facebook last year after Donald Trump won the election, calling people to arms, calling people to descend on Washington post the inauguration, and they have responded in numbers. It's difficult to equate whether, in terms of the comparison, whether there are more people at this march than there were at Donald Trump's inauguration yesterday, but it's something we will be watching closely. I tell you, people here from every cause on the planet are descending on Washington this morning.
Yes. But Sherwin, what is really at the core of these protest marches? What are the reasons that have been given by the women for the marches?
You'll remember those very offensive remarks that were caught on a videotape by then candidate Donald Trump. Obril, you'll remember him talking about grabbing women in areas without their consent. And so a number of women at this march today are wearing these knitted hats in the shape of that very subject. Pink hats are strewn across the heads of people everywhere as far as the eye can see. And basically this is a pushback at his misogynist remarks. This is a question of climate change denial. There are LGBT rights signs here. And of course, I mean, if you just look at some of the facts, immediately when Donald Trump took the oath of office yesterday, the official pages of the White House removed any references to LGBT rights. Civil liberties page was taken down. The climate change page was taken down. The health care page was taken down. So this is a response to all of that. Right next to me was one of the protesters. Her name is Janice, and she's just going to briefly tell us why she is at the march today.
I came because I felt during the election in our country, some line had been crossed about respect for all people, no matter what their gender or their race or their religion. And that's not what we're about as a nation, nor is it what we're about as human beings.
So that really sums it up. I mean, any issue on the table, and this really is a pushback to Donald Trump's inauguration, Obril.
And Sherwin, you were following closely this election right up to the inauguration yesterday. But do you think that the new president, Trump, will seriously consider what these women are saying?
Well, it's an interesting question because what a number of observers yesterday and analysts were watching for in that inauguration address was whether Donald Trump would reach across the aisle and reach out to people that had concerns about the things he had said, had concerns about what his presidential philosophy would be. And we saw no reaching out in that address. I mean, he spoke about putting America, hiring America, buying American products. There was no sort of reaching out to issues around climate change, which a lot of people have concerns about. There was no reaching out to people that have concerns about who we might appoint to the Supreme Court. Women's rights to choose. There's a great deal of concern that there will be a pushback and a rollback on abortion rights in this country. And we didn't hear him address any of those specific issues. So, yes, it's an as to whether Donald Trump will respond to the concerns of the, 60-some-odd million people that voted for Hillary Clinton. The majority of people, of course, voted for Hillary Clinton in the election, but Donald Trump winning the electoral college in this paper system that elects president of the United States. So we're not seeing that reaching out across the aisle yet. And I think this march, this grassroots reaction, is in part a reaction to that.
Mm-hmm. And what was the new president's official duty in the Oval Office? I believe now Obamacare is a thing of the past, eh?
No, that's not quite right. Obamacare would have to be repealed by the House of Representatives and by the Senate, and then would have to be signed by the president. What Donald Trump did yesterday in the Oval Office was sign an executive order removing certain obligations on certain companies as it pertains to Obamacare, or as it's better known, its official name is the Affordable Care Act. So Donald Trump does not, through executive order, have the power to repeal legislation, but he has just loosened some of the regulations that are attached to the Affordable Care Act.
And what other actions can we expect from President Trump this weekend?
Well, I think his main concern is to get his cabinet confirmed by the Senate. I think one confirmation has gone through, or two confirmations. I think his defense secretary has been confirmed. His Homeland Security Secretary has been confirmed by the Senate, but there are almost 24 confirmations that still are outstanding. So I think that will be a very clear emphasis. And he has said that he will start trying to push back Obamacare for one. So we imagine come Monday, Tuesday, the House of Representatives meet to begin to enact that process, which cannot just be overruled through executive order overall.
All right, that was Sherwin Bryse-Pease, our correspondent, speaking to us live from Washington, D.C. in the United States.